Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Call Halal Yamla Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Barakah HaKodash, which means all praises to Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, Bahasham means the name, Yahweh Shai is the name of his only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly called Jesus Christ, Barakah HaKodash means in the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of truth, only way we can worship the Father and the Son. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all you brothers preaching the gospel in truth and in sincerity, always in charity. It's a brother Mathathia from the Great Millstone Camp, the branch out of Des Moines. And as you can see on your screen, it's a lesson from the Elder Malcolm out of Chicago. It's entitled 12 Tribe Sign is 144% correct. And this was uploaded on his GMS Maccabean Spirit Ba page, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, Salakia. Yep, GMS Maccabean Spirit Ba, right? And he was going into books and history that was written by Esau, and their tongue falling upon themselves, man. Going into the interpreters that Columbus brought over here, right? Because according to history, he was trying to find a trade route into India. Well, if he was going into India, why does he have Hebrew interpreters with him? You see? So that story, that narrative that they told is a lie. He knew exactly where he was coming. Now, one thing that the Elder Malcolm showed within his lesson was this: the Jewish Encyclopedia, right? I believe it said 1867, right? But as you can read here, it says Arsarith, which this is taken out of Second Esdras, the 13th chapter, which Lord will we're going to get. It says Arsarith, the name of the land beyond the great river, far away from the habitation of man, in which the 10 tribes of Israel will dwell, observing the laws of Moses until the time of the restoration, according to 4th Esdras, right? Because 2nd Esdras is 4th Esdras, the 13th chapter, the 45th verse. Columbus identified America with this land. And Elder Malcolm went into Cairley Singh's book, right? And went into the history of that, man. So here it is. Let's go to 2nd Esdras 13. And this is something that black, right? Only black Israelites, people who believe that only all the tribes is black. This is something that they can't explain, man. You see? And that's why the spirit of prophecy is undefeated. Now, this is the book of Second Corinthians. This is the book of 2nd Esdras, chapter 13 and 40. It says, those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Hosea the king, right? So this is known as the northern kingdom when you go into the history of the Israelites, whom Shalmaneser, the king of Assyria, led captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. But they took counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. You see, where never mankind dwelt. And it's talking about what? Where they where it hasn't been what's the word? Established or founded, right? Because all these other places, they say that the 10 tribes went into Africa. Let's Google this though. This is the book of Psalms 105 and 23. Israel also came into Egypt, and Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham. You see that? So it's letting you know that Africa is the land of Ham. So it's letting you know Ham inhabited the land of Africa. So going back into 2nd Esdras 13, it says wherever mankind dwelt, wherever mankind inhabited it. You see? So this can't be talking about Africa. Let's keep reading verse 42. That they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river, right? And going into a map, see, that's why coming into this faith, right? It's not just about calling Esau, Edom the devil. It's not just about, you got fringes or you got a beard on your face or you got your head wrapped, you got your dress on. No, it's more than that, man. It's about understanding geography, understanding maps, right? Understanding migratory patterns of people, understanding different geopolitical situations that was going on in the ancient world as also today, as the scripture says, study to show ourselves approved, man. Not just within these precepts, but also within the history of the earth. Right? So knowing that they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. So let's go. Let's look that up. Map of the Euphrates. So here it is. You see that? So they were carried out of our land here, down here, out of Israel, right? And was led over into the land of Assyria, which the land of Assyria is over here in the land of Iraq, right? Over here in this area. So they entered into the Euphrates and came down where? Into the Persian Gulf over here where you see Kuwait. They entered into the Euphrates and sailed down into there. You see? And then from there, they went down, right? Yep, this is a better map. Into the Euphrates, you see, sailed down into the Persian Gulf, down into the Gulf of Oman, down into the Arabian Sea, down into the Indian Ocean, around the Horn of Africa. You see that? That's the pathway they took. So going back to 2nd Esdras 13 and 43, and they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. For the Most High then showed signs for them, right? So the Lord guided them over here and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. Now, why did it take them a year and a half to get there? Let's get this. Well, let's see if I can just find it with ships. Oh, that's why, because I narrowed it down to Salaki. Bear with me. This is nope, this is talking about Jehoshaphat, but it's the same thing. Okay, here it is. This is 1 Kings 9 and 26. And King Solomon made a navy of ships in Ezion Geber, which is beside Elath on the shore of the Red Sea in the land of Edom. And Hiram sent in the navy his servants, shipmen that had knowledge of the sea, with the servants of Solomon. And they came to Ophir and fetched from thence gold 420 talents and brought it to King Solomon. And it says, let me find the other one, right? Let's find the other one. Yep. 1 Kings 10 and 22. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. From where? From the land of Ophir. You see? So going back to this 2nd Esdras, it says that it took them a year and a half to get there. That's a one-way trip. Now, if you're doing a round trip, if you're going there and back, how long would it take? A year and a half there and a year and a half back. So once every 3 years, the ships of Solomon came bringing these things from the Americas. So this is how our people knew how to get there. You see that? So let's read this again. 2nd Esdras 13 and 45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth, which in the Hebrew is Achar Aratazah. Now we know that because of what? What the Lord said he would do. This is the book of Deuteronomy 29 and 28. And Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land as it is this day. Now, when you go into that word another, it's the Hebrew word achar, right? Achara, achar, you see, which means another or other, and then a land, aratazah, you see, another country, another land, which where you get Azareth from. You see? So the Lord, read this again, 2nd Esdras 13:45. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Asareth, which is another country, another land. Then dwelt they there until the latter time, and now when they shall begin to come. And this is the times that we in now, man. You see? And these are the 10 tribes that left from over there in the Middle East and came over here to America, man. Right? Because you can Google. There's information out there. There's information out there, right? Which goes into, as you can see this right here, the Indians who came from Ophir. In his book, he wanted to portray Brazil as a temperate land, right? Brazil, Peru. There's information out there that that's where they came to, right? And that's where you see the Olmec heads from. And those Olmec heads are Canaanites, which goes back into Hiram's navy. You see? So this is all history, right? That black only Israelites can't explain these things, man. You see? So now I'm going to go to Genesis, the 49th chapter, and let's touch on some of these tribes, mainly the Spanish, the so-called Spanish-speaking tribes, the Latin tribes, right? Now let's go to Genesis 49. Now let's start at 1. It says, and Jacob called unto his sons and said, gather yourselves together that I may tell you that which shall befall you in the last days. You see that? So let's scroll down. This is verse 13. It says, Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and he shall be for a haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. Right? Now, when you go to this, let's go into the ancient map of the 12 tribes, right? Let's go to our allotted lands. Now, let's find Zebulun. You see how Zebulun is situated right here in the middle of Manasseh, Issachar, Naphtali, and Asher? You see that? How is that a haven of ships? See, this can't be explained unless through the spirit of prophecy, man. Once again, that these people cannot explain. So how is haven? Let's read that prophecy again, right? Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea, and shall be for an haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. You see that? So what we have to do is, let's type in a map of Central America. You see that? And we could just click any one of them. You see Mexico up here, right? You see Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, and this is the Panama Canal down here, man. You see, this is Zebulun. This is the haven of ships. You see, and it says his border shall be to Zidon, because this is this area down here, right? Is where the Olmec, matter of fact, let's Google this. The Olmec heads, right? Of human heads, where I'm trying to find where they found. Mesoamerica, Where are they found? The Gulf of Mexico. You see that? Yep. Look at the map right here. You see? Look at where that's found. See? That's Central America. You see that? See that? So going back into this map, you can see, yep, you see that? The Gulf of Mexico. You got Florida up there, you know? This is what? This is Zebulun right here, man. You see? And these is where the Olmec heads were found, right? So showing you how far that Solomon and Hiram's navy came over here to the Americas, man. Right? But let's go back. It says Zebulun shall dwell at the haven of the sea. It's not Central America, a haven of the sea, right? And shall be for a haven of ships, and his border shall be unto Zidon. So how can that be explained? How can that be explained when you look at our ancient map of our allotted inheritance? How can that be explained? See, these guys ain't got it. It's through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua, through the Holy Spirit, the spirit of prophecy. You see, that 12 tribe chart is right in on point, right? Also, let's jump over to Deuteronomy 33. What else did it say about Zebulun? This is Deuteronomy 33 and 18. And of Zebulun, he said, rejoice, Zebulun, in thy going out, and Issachar in thy tents. And when you look at a map, right? When you look at this map, you see, that's not the one. When you look at this map, who's right by each other? Zebulun and Issachar. You see that? So now let's read into about Issachar. Let's go back to Genesis 49 and 14. Issachar is a strong ass couching down between two burdens. Now, how do you explain that? You see? How do you explain that? See? Now, Mexico, right? That's between the two burdens. As you can see, the two burdens, one being America and the other burden being Central America. Because when you go into the, what's the word I'm looking for? When you understand the beef that the Northern Kingdom has with each other, man, right? You can't call a Mexican a Puerto Rican. You can't call a Cuban a Venezuelan. You know, you can't call a Guatemalan a Brazilian, right? And when you actually go into this, man, those Guatemalans and those people of Central America, man, they hate the people of Mexico, man. Right? That's the burden that Mexico is sitting between. You see? And it says what? It says that Issachar is a strong ass. Now, it says, what does a donkey symbolize in Mexican culture? These are very small animals who really contribute. She says, donkeys were first brought to Mexico by Spanish conquistadors. They flourished and became a symbol of rural life, renowned for their ability to carry large loads over Mexico's difficult terrain. You see? So the donkey represents strength and labor. Now, when you go to these different restaurants and these different places, right? Who's working in there, man? You go to an Asian restaurant, who's in the kitchen cooking? Go to an Italian restaurant, all these different ones, who's in the kitchen cooking, man? You go to your steak and shakes, your IHOP, so forth and so on, and whatever your local food eatery joint is, man. Who's in there cooking? Issachar in there working his ass off, man. You see, verse 15. And he saw that rest was good in the land, that it was pleasant, and bowed his shoulder to bear, and became a servant unto tribute. You know? So there go your Issacharites. There go your so-called Mexicans right there, man. You see? Let's continue to read down. It says verse 20. Now we know 19. I'll just read 19. It says, Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last. And what's that troop? That's the American cavalry, man. All those different wars that America fought when it was expanding its territory towards the west. You see? But Gad is going to overcome in the end. Verse 20. Out of Asher his bread shall be fat, and he shall yield royal dainties. Now Asher, let's go into Asher, right? Asher being, let's get this, the biggest food producer in South America. Brazil is the largest producer and exporter of sugar, coffee, and orange juice in the world, as well as the largest exporter of beef, soybeans, and poultry. The country is the most important competitor to the United States in international sales of soybeans. Because what? Because of that lush forest, the Amazon that it has down there, man. You see? Out of Asher, right? And who is Asher? Let's get that. As you can see here, this is the realHebrewIsraelites.com. It says Ashar, Colombia to Uruguay, right? I don't know why I keep doing that. But let's look up map of South America, right? I did not click that one. Let's see. Yep, there we go. You see, from Colombia to Uruguay. So all this area at the in the north, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Cayenne, Uruguay, right? All that up there, man. You see? And when we move over to the 32nd chapter, right? I mean the 33rd chapter, Salakia. We move over to Deuteronomy 33. And read down about Asher, right? Verse 24. And of Asher he said, let Asher be blessed with children. Let him be acceptable to his brethren, and let him dip his foot in oil. You see? So now, see? All we got to do now. South American countries that produce the most oil. 2 countries currently dominate Central and South American oil production. Venezuela and Brazil, which are both Asher. Traditionally, Venezuela had been South America's biggest producer. Its oil reserves, 18% of the world's total, outstrips those of Saudi Arabia. See, there's no way around the spirit of prophecy. But where's these black only Israelites and where's the prophecies of where the tribes would be according to them? You see, they ain't got it, man. They ain't got it. Let's continue to read down. It says, verse 21, Naphtali is a hind let loose. He giveth goodly words. Now jump over to the 32nd chapter. I keep saying 32, Deuteronomy 33. And let's read about Naphtali. Right? It says, where is Naphtali? Where are you? Verse 23. And of Naphtali, he said, of Naphtali, satisfied with favor and full with blessing of the Lord, possess thou the west and the south. Right? So now let's go. Now, Naphtali's land gotta be in the west and in the south, right? But hold on. Is that not in the north of our land? That's not the west and the south. So how can that add up? You see? So now we find out who Naphtali is. Naphtali, as you can see, Naphtali is Argentina and Chile. Oh. So now let's go to a map of South America. Where is Argentina and Chile? Right? Argentina, Chile. Is that not the west? Is not Chile on the west? And Argentina in the south? You see that? So let's go back. It says, possess thou the west and the south. And it's speaking about how luscious that this land is, man. You see? So once again, where's these guys in their breakdown and interpretation of the 12 tribe chart? They could hear us explain it and go into it and say, no, that ain't right, and that's wrong, and that ain't. Well, what's the correct interpretation? You tell me. Where's y'all videos at explaining it? There is none. So here it is. They can tell us what's wrong, but they can't show us what's right. A lot of these guys just mad because the woman they liked was going after Eduardo, you know? And the nigga women mad because I seen it growing up, man. You had nigga women jealous of the Northern Kingdom or the lighter skinned Israelite women that had fairer skin and longer hair. They would pull their hair and talk shit against them, man. You see, get over yourself, man. Get over yourself. Argument is, oh, well, only the dark-skinned ones are. No, bruh. No, just stop the bullshit, man. Just stop it. Because the majority of the people on this earth has melanin. What about the dark-skinned Arabs? What about the dark-skinned East Indians? You see, melanin doesn't determine if you are Israelite or not. It all goes to the seed line, man. And as it is written, it says Ephraim is a matter of fact. I think we're going into Ephraim next. Yeah, let's just go into Ephraim, right? Now this is Genesis 49 and 21, verse 22. Joseph is a fruitful bow, even a fruitful bow by a well, whose branches run over the wall, right? The archers have sorely grieved him and shot at him and hated him. Goes into what the affliction that they suffered, right? At the hands of the conquistadors, at the hands of Cristobal Colon. You see? It says, but his bow abode in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty power of Jacob. From thence is the shepherd, the stone of Israel, you know, and it go over to Deuteronomy, the 32nd. I keep saying 32. I'm sorry. Deuteronomy 33 and 13. And of Joseph, he said, blessed of the Lord be his land for the precious things of heaven, for the dew and for the deep that coucheth beneath, and for the precious fruits brought forth by the sun, and for the precious things put forth by the moon, and for the chief things of the ancient mountains, and for the precious things of the lasting hills, and for the precious things of the earth and fullness thereof, and for the goodwill of him that dwelt in the bush. Let the blessing come upon the head of Joseph and upon the top of the head of him that was separated from his brethren. And when you look into the land of Puerto Rico, man, it's a very fruitful, right, and beautiful land, man. Look at the precious things that's put forth by the moon. You see, bioluminescent bay in Puerto Rico, man. Look at that, man. You see, look at that. And then also we can go further into the prophecy, right? Let's go to the book of Hosea. It's Hosea 9 and 13. Ephraim, as I saw Tyrus, is planted in a pleasant place, but Ephraim shall bring forth his children to the murderer. So it says Ephraim, as I saw Tyrus, right? And when we go into ancient Tyre or Tyrus or Tyre, right? It's a Phoenician city on the Mediterranean coast. So when we go back into the map of our land, right? Tyre and Zidon was all the way up here in the north of our land, man. Right? As you can see in the land of Asher right here. Let's zoom in more. You see Tyre? That's Tyrus right there. It's what's situated on the coast. You see, it was a port city, meaning ships could come in and deliver its goods there. Right? Is that the same could be said for Ephraim right here? No. No. But where is Ephraim situated on this side of the earth? It's in the island of Puerto Rico. You see that? So there's no way around the spirit of prophecy, man. There's no way around these scriptures. And it speaks about, matter of fact, it speaks about Ephraim. Let's look up this other verse. Hosea 7 and 8. Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. You see? So now when you look at, right? When you look at pancakes being made, you see? You see that? You see the difference? You see the difference? One is darker than the other, and the other one's light. But they're both Ephraim. But they're both Ephraim, man. So once again, see, Ephraim is a cake unturned, man. Man, hey, that's the spirit that is right there. You see? So it doesn't matter the skin complexion, man. It matters the spirit that's within the people. You see? And these same people that argue about so-called black only Well, what about the parable of the tares and the wheat? See, they don't take account of there's Edomites, right, who look like all people. There's Edomites who got dark skin, just like the darkest Israelite, man. But see, they'll welcome him with open arms just because he got skin just like this. See, this is not something of the flesh. This is not something carnal. This is of the spirit. And we have to apply these things in the spirit, you know? So, I believe that's all I had through the spirit. Let's see. Yeah, I believe that's all I had through the spirit. You know, I'm going to leave it there, you know? Lord's willing, I hope this was edifying. The Wadi Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh for giving me the spirit to go into this. I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai Baruch HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, blessings, and salutations to all you brothers preaching the gospel and truth and sincerity, always in charity. And there's so much more research that can be done. There's so much more information out there, man. You know, hey, man, the 12 tribe chart is true. According to Ezekiel, the 37th chapter. Yeah, let me get that. I can't do this lesson without bringing this up. This is the book of Ezekiel 37. And verse 16. Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions, right? Benjamin and Levi. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, right? And for all the house of Israel, his companions. So that's Naphtali, you know, that's Gad, that's Reuben, that's Issachar, that's Asher, you know. It says that's Manasseh, right? And join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thy hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Say unto them, thus saith the Lord of power, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in my hand. You see? So that's the kingdom coming back together. These are the tabernacles of David being rebuilt again. And it's the same thing our Lord said, right? He said that he have sheep, right? That's John 10. It's the book of St. John 10 and verse 16. And other sheep I have which are not of this fold, them also. And he was talking about the Israelites on the other side of the world, the northern kingdom, right? Them also I must bring, and they shall hear my voice, and there shall be one fold and one shepherd. And the precept to that is Ezekiel 37. I just read 19, right? We just read 19. Let's continue to read verse 20. And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thy hand before their eyes. And the stick is the Hebrew word itazat, which means plank or wood. And that's why you see the wooden chart out there. Verse 21. And say unto them, thus saith the Lord of power, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. You see? So the Wadi Yahweh Ba'asham Yahweh Shai for that, man. You know? So Lord willing, I hope this was edifying. Shalom.